Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles.
Better late than never.
Exactly. For those who, I guess even for the audio people at this point, but yeah, for those who are listening to the audio version only, this is probably same as it ever was for you. But yes, we are recording a couple of days late because of reasons we don't necessarily have to go into, but we are still giving you this wonderfully fine content that we have presented for you tonight.
And it involves bodily functions. We'll leave it at that.
Yes, indeed. And I knew there was something I forgot to do when the intro was playing, but that's okay because audio people won't hear it. But yes, this is the Comic Book Chronicles. I am your host, Roddykat, and you can find me at Roddykat on Twitter. You can find me at News Nerds Need on Twitter. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram.
South Carolina with Columbia down the way.
Which, now that I think about it, I need to update that because I hadn't put anything up there in a minute, and I've been saving stuff to put up, but it just haven't been. But go check it out anyway because it's probably new to you. Wow, there's a lot of comic book Twitches. I'm noticing. Biting out goddamn stuff. Anyway, and the sound effects you have just heard come from none other than Agent_70 on Twitter and Instagram.
What's up, everybody? All right.
Right here, big.
Yeah, Brooklyn's finest we got going on over there. Which, wait, I'm surprised that's not one of your sound clips.
No. Oh, yeah, I do have
Finest.
Brooklyn's finest. That's actually from Fabula. From
Yeah,
Fabulous,
no,
actually.
but I'm saying I don't know. Do you have Brooklyn's finest as a clip or part of Brooklyn's
yeah,
finest as a clip?
I do. I have.
From Brooklyn going out to all.
Okay, there we go. Absolutely. Why was that even doubtful?
There's, Roddykat likes to joke that there is such a deep treasure trove of these, a deep reserve of these Brooklyn shout outs, especially in hip hop, that I could be clipping these sound effects, for days on end. But I definitely try to ration them out, and there's always going to be some that I find, some that I remember, some that eventually just make their way across my desk, and I have to remember to cut out that little snippet to play during the intro.
Yeah, like Gangstar's Brooklyn, the planet.
Out here in Brooklyn, the place where we dwell.
Well, that's the place where we dwell, but yeah, I'm thinking about the planet. But yeah, but either way, he's already on point with it. So, but anyway, folks. So yes, this is the Comic Book Chronicles, like I said, and you can find said Comic Book Chronicles on the Coastal of the Podcast Network, the CSPN.us.
Do it today.
No. God damn it. I know I should have. Fudge. Shit. Sorry. Anyway, something I got to deal with in a few. But anyway, you could also find this here podcast on your podcast place of choice, whether it be Google Play, Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Coastal Lizard Podcast Network's SoundCloud page. Oh, dear.
And make sure to hit like and subscribe and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Five-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, please.
Yeah, please. Secret Play. Absolutely. All of that. You know what I'm saying? We try to give you some great content every week. And this one hopefully is no exception. We do record every Thursday night, 9:30-ish p.m., except for tonight. on the Click Nation's YouTube channel and twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles. So which
and hit like and subscribe there as well.
Yes, please. That would be lovely and nice. So we can try to we could try to put some more content up for you outside of the stuff that we bring you every week, which I know we said we were going to do some other streams, and that is definitely going to happen. So there was not a fabrication.
These are not idle words, folks.
No, these are not. These are absolutely not. But regardless, we are going to get into to start off the show while I try to take care of some really ugly business behind the scenes. Not ugly business, just hassles. We're going to talk about briefly the latest episode of What If. That's What If episode 7 that came out this week.
Right, and the title of the episode is What If Thor Were an Only Child? Which makes me laugh because in Norse mythology, he's definitely not an only child. In Norse mythology, he's got all sorts of half brothers and sisters, all over the place.
I was about to say, kind of in comics also.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. In the comic adaptation, obviously that translates as well. So in this case, the premise of the story is that Odin, in his infinite wisdom, actually brokers something close to a truce and peace with the frost giants instead of abducting Loki and making Loki his adopted son. Odin actually returns Loki, and it's presumed that in exchange there is a long-lasting peace between Asgard and Jotunheim. So ultimately, the what if premise is that Thor is, well, let's just say he is the Thor that we meet in the first movie, at let's say the first third of the first movie, times 100.
Yes, or as I've taken to call him, Thor Wilder or Thor-ris Bueller.
Right. That's definitely apropos, because ultimately the way this episode plays out is that we get the opening of I guess how Thor makes his way to Earth. Right, we get Jane Foster and Darcy investigating a phenomenon, but instead see Bifrost head towards Viva Las Vegas, where the Asgardians land and then plan to throw a party. And at this point, the Watcher explains that in this particular reality, Thor grew up without Loki, and it's the lessons that Thor learned in dealing with Loki repeatedly all the time, all those lessons that he learned in learning to deal with, in coping with. It's really coping with Loki's schemes that really shaped the Thor and the hero that we know in the sacred timeline and the main timeline. So, as always, and some people love using this trope, Odin goes into the Odin sleep because you know what? He's used up a lot of his power and he needs to take a nice long nap.
Don't we all?
So, right. Listen, I'm about to take a nap right now. So let's be real. We're recording this Sunday night. So it's the later it gets, the sleepier Agent_70 is gonna get. Odin is in the Odin sleep, and while the cat's away, right, Frigga and Thor will play. Frigga's out.
Yeah.
She's like, peace.
I'm spending the weekend with the girls.
Exactly.
You be good. But of course, this is Thor.
She's like, hey, Thor, you're in charge while Odin is asleep. I'm out. Later, right? Deuces. And Thor, in his, let's say, finite wisdom, not infinite, but definitely finite wisdom,
Yes.
chooses this time to go to, in his words, I'm paraphrasing here, a backwater planet that Heimdall's not even watching.
Right. Which we know, well, I guess technically
Can't be the case because it's one of the 9 realms.
Right.
But also, it's a conceit for this episode that Heimdall's not watching Earth. Go on. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No. All I was just gonna say, he's basically this so-called backwater planet, which is Earth / Midgard, also gets treated like Spring Break. This is the way they run rampant all over it.
Right. I mean, what was great about this is that, without belaboring the point, there are some really great sequences in this, right? There really are, because ultimately, the chemistry between Jane Foster and Thor still comes up eventually, right? Yeah. Maybe not in the best way, but definitely still comes up. And what ends up happening is that Nick Fury has to take a back seat, almost literally, because of some of the antics that pop up to Maria Hill. And Maria Hill, all of a sudden, is I'm ready to push the button all the time, anytime. And some of the buttons that she presses are, would lead to nuclear devastation. But one of the other buttons that she would push flashes a particular symbol when she presses it, especially on a beeper screen. And I'm kind of spoiling it with that, but let's just say a certain Air Force captain shows up from beyond space and time.
Yes. Yes, and so she is she's the option used to try to straighten out Thor, but of course that while it leads to a very good fight, doesn't quite end up going that way. So they end up having to resort to the most nuclear option and calling Thor's mom. So
honestly, that felt the most real. As silly as it was, it felt the most real to me.
Right, and that's why I have likened it to like Ferris Bueller and Van Wilder. Well, more Ferris Bueller on that part than the Van Wilder part, because obviously, well, if you're of a certain vintage, or you may have seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I don't know your life, but at the end, he's trying to get back home to before his parents get home, and of course, in this case, Thor's trying to clean up the Earth, trying to get people to help him clean up the Earth before Frigga makes her way there. So the Bifrost is, I assumed, almost instantaneous, but it takes her a long time, because first, I would spoilers on this one. Jane Foster ends up going and tells her, then she ends up going to the Bifrost, which I'm saying like, wait, could Heimdall just bypass bringing her back home and just send her to Earth immediately? Like no, she goes back to Asgard and then goes to Earth, and it takes a long ass time between that. But the conceit is there because Thor's trying to get people to clean up the Earth and the like. But at first has an issue to do it, and everybody's like, I'm out. You gotta go. Like I gotta go. Like, but regardless, it all kind of sort of works out. It seems to work out in his favor. But Frigga's no fool, and you can kind of tell it in the way when she does finally get the Earth, and when she's like, okay, sure.
Right. So, it definitely plays out a lot like those movies that Roddykat referenced in his earlier statement. And to that point, there is a big cleanup sequence of the Earth, which was just as fun as the tear down sequence, basically, of the tear it up, party up sequence that the episode featured earlier. And just as we think everything is back to normal, and Thor and Jane Foster are figuring out their relationship, the Watcher basically is on hand when a portal opens up, and there is something that I will not spoil.
Right.
But the Watcher basically says, and Jeffrey Wright really does an excellent job here. He does an excellent job of vocalizing the surprise.
Right.
That is evident because the watcher is absolutely surprised that this particular portal opens and these particular characters pop through.
So, okay, so there's my question to you, because it came off as if that was a surprise to him, or maybe he was just kind of like, no, I knew it was coming, but I was acting like that was good. Like, I don't know which way it came off to you. Like, was he generally, because there are theories out there was like, no, that one kind of caught him by surprise, and it's setting up, the fact that he doesn't necessarily see all and whatnot, which, I mean, we know the watchers, doesn't always see all, but he, like there were some things that kind of came up that was slightly out of his purview that
Right.
that came into play.
Right. And we'll see how all of this is related to stuff that we've seen in Loki in the Disney Plus Loki series as well.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if the limitations and or power set that Uatu in the What If universe are the same as or similar to what the Watcher is, what Uatu is in the Marvel Comics universe. We don't know if there are Watchers per multiverse, per universe, per reality, or if this is one Watcher who is seeing all the different realities. So we will see how that plays out over the next 2 episodes, because we talked about this in previous shows that there are 9 total What If episodes for season 1. So we are coming up on episode 8. And if there is going to be any sort of linking of these stories or some sort of serialization of these stories going into the second season, we'll start to find out going forward with this next episode, and definitely the episode after that, which would be the season finale.
Indeed. So yeah, but it was good. It was good. Even down to that last because most of the what ifs have been kind of like that. I was like, okay, it seems to be going one way, and then oh wait, this is wrinkle at the end that seems to complicate things that you kind of want to know more about. And this was no different. Like we're not going to spoil what happens.
Right.
But like
Right.
I want to see, if not how that happened. Well, we kind of get an idea of how that probably could have happened, but what's going to happen after that point.
Ultimately, I felt like this episode was a little bit of a palate cleanser, because prior to this, like the last 3 or 4 episodes had been super dark and foreboding and just had really dark themes. This one was very light, very carefree, and until the very end was just a lot of fun. I definitely enjoyed myself watching this. I was laughing consistently. So that is a good sign for anyone who's looking for a slightly different change of pace in these What If episodes.
Yep, absolutely. So that being the case, we can actually move on to another Disney Plus show real quick. We're not going to talk too terribly much about this. But also what came out this past week, on the same night actually, or same day rather, was Marvel Vision. Star Wars Visions, which basically,
Right.
which were the which was pretty much the Star Wars / anime anthology, that Lucas and Disney Plus has put out. And Agent 70
in conjunction with 9 anime studios, animation studios, Japanese animation studios.
Yes. So I don't know. Did they actually say if they were going to do another season or not? Have they? I can't remember if they've said that already or not. Because I feel like it's right for it.
It's an excellent question. I am not sure.
Yeah.
I am not sure. I have not looked that deeply into it.
Mm-hmm.
I can say that in very broad strokes, because Roddykat is still working his way through. I did manage to finish watching all, I believe, 9 episodes.
Right.
They're basically short films because they last roughly 11 to 13 minutes, something like that.
There's a couple of them that's like 20. Yeah. But
yeah. I mean, I didn't really look carefully. I just remember seeing in the teens, so they roughly end up being like short films.
Right, but look, roughly less than half an hour, basically, folks. So yeah, but it's to your credit to say that since you didn't even notice the time, like they just kind of flow that nicely, the way you don't, you're not looking at that.
Exactly. So ultimately, what we have is these particular animation studios doing their take on what they feel is the Star Wars story they really want to tell. And minor spoilers, a lot of it revolves around lightsabers and the Force. Not necessarily just Jedi, but definitely lightsabers and the Force. Roddykat and I were discussing this just prior to the show, and obviously, if you don't know that Lucas originally took his inspiration for the Jedi from samurai films and samurai lore.
Hey, Twitch.
Your
monthly subs and gift subs are.
Whoa.
Sorry about that. Don't worry about it. Keep
It's okay. What I was going to say is, if you don't know that, you definitely need to do some homework.
Yes.
But if you do know that, and you should, then you realize that, in a sense, these Star Wars stories are coming home. And getting the animation studios to do their take on it works out, in my opinion, works out really well. It's just that there's lots of Jedi or at least lightsabers. And, there's not very many Han Solo types running around, being highlighted. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. But like I said, that being said, though, it's still good. Like if you're an anime fan and you don't necessarily know a whole lot about the Star Wars universe, I think it would still probably serve you pretty decently. If you are a Star Wars fan who don't really know too much about, anime, I think you may or may not, depending on how much of a fan you are, because there are people who will be like, yeah, I'm a fan, but I only like this and the other. So they may or may not. That they may not.
Mileage may vary simply because they're telling their stories. We don't at this point know if these are ever going to be incorporated into quote unquote canon.
So we do know that, actually. So no.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, we do know that. Good. Yeah, because there was it was either a featurette or something but basically before a while ago, I think some folks from Lucasfilm was like, yeah, no, they got carte blanche, but this is not canon.
Good.
Now that being said, that's not saying, now that being said, they could very well just be like, because sometimes, even with stuff that's in the past, like kind of pick and choose some stuff, but no, they was like, no, we just gave them freedom to do stories in their thing and not to worry about canon or anything, in the anything.
That's an excellent piece of information to incorporate into your reading and your viewing of this,
right?
Because they're able to go in many different directions that you may not be used to seeing and obviously won't be all that familiar with. So taking into account that these creators had a lot of creative freedom in the directions that they wanted to go, then just enjoy the ride. That's what I would say. I watched all of the episodes in their English dub because of the fact that I knew that, and we had talked about this on previous shows, that there were some famous actors and actresses, just actors, period, who were lending their voices to the English dub. And I still being, I'm not the biggest anime purist in the world. I'm in the earlier stages of my latest journey through anime. I definitely lean towards watching things in the original Japanese with English subtitles.
Same.
But in this case, I definitely wanted to hear these more famous actors do the dubs, and then I'll eventually circle back and watch this in Japanese with English subtitles.
Yeah, and I told myself I was gonna do that same thing because like it's like and like I said, it's 9 episodes. They're not really that long a piece. Like if you are if you're a thorough like that, you could easily do that and be all right with it. Or with some anime fans, like they will go one way or the other. Now it is presented. If I'm not mistaken, it is presented English dub forward. So you would have to change it, obviously, because it's being a Disney Plus. It was if you are English native speaking, or if you are in an English area, it'll probably be whatever language forward. So that's probably that. But obviously, you can change it, change the audio settings.
Right, and actually, Disney and Lucas did a heck of a lot of translating for this because it is not just English and Japanese.
That is correct.
There are a multitude of languages that you have to scroll through to get to Japanese.
Mm-hmm. Which is good, because they knew they was like, well, the anime is not just a Japan and U.S. Love, so they wanted to make sure that a lot of people, a lot of languages being able to partake of it when they ever get it. I don't even know if every place even has Disney Plus. I know they're still kind of rolling out in a couple of other places here and there.
Right.
So, but regardless, it was good. You should if you are so inclined with Star Wars and/or anime, or if you just like anime, and you have access to Disney Plus, or there are other ways, but still, regardless, you should check it out. There's some good stuff.
I said the plus.
The plus, exactly. So definitely check it out because there's some very, especially some visually and story wise, some cool things in there. I even was watching one of them with a friend of mine who was not inclined to either one, but they enjoyed it, which was that fourth episode. And they said like they enjoyed it, so I'm like, okay, cool. But that being the case, huh?
I said, sounds good.
Yeah, so that being the case, we can move on to the comic books of the week, folks.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but we have now all of Transformers G1 is out on YouTube on Hasbro Plus's channel, so you can go check that out and all its goodness. I think we did mention that because season 4 was the last one, which granted season 4 was like 3 episodes, so that's not really saying a whole lot. But regardless, we're going to start the comic books with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin, number 4. Which is book 4 of 5.
Yes, and allow me to introduce myself. My name is Hope. No, I mean there are several creators on this book, so allow me a minute to get through them. Mm-hmm. It is an important thing because it takes a small village. In this case, it definitely takes a group of people to put together a quality book. Mm-hmm. The story, as it has been for the last 4 issues, it's probably the entire, the entire series is probably going to read very similar in the sense of the credits page. The story is by Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, and Tom Waltz. The script is by Tom Waltz and Kevin Eastman. Layouts are by Kevin Eastman. Pencils and inks are by Esau and Isaac Escorza, Ben Bishop, and Kevin Eastman. There is a color assist by Samuel Plata, and colors are by Luis Antonio Delgado. Letters are by Sean Lee. So if you are not caught up on The Last Ronin, you probably want to read the first 3 issues before getting to this. But I will say that this issue, I think, does the most explaining without a ton of exposition. It does the most, it basically does a lot of showing and not necessarily telling, because a couple of mysteries that had been teased over the first 3 issues really get paid off to good effect here in this issue. While at the same time, there's a lot of action going on because they are in this flashback. Several flashbacks are being told in the midst of a pretty action-packed sequence.
Yeah. Yep. That is true. Because so there was I don't know if you mentioned it, for those that didn't know, like really quick. So as the name implies, the last Ronin means there's like this is, I think this is a future story. I'm not even entirely sure though. Well, it doesn't really matter where it's set. But there's one total left. I'm still not gonna like, granted that the total is that's in question. You know, just in case you're interested in and want to pick this up from the top.
Yeah, that's a big spoiler. So
yeah, so
we won't drop that.
But regardless, we come to find out that there's one turtle left, and we find out what happens to the rest of the turtles and up to now. And I think this was the last we find out the whereabouts of the last turtle and Splinter. Or not whereabouts, but what happened to the last turtle and Masters? I mean, excuse me, the last turtle outside of the one that's still around, and Master Splinter in this particular issue before going into the finale next issue. Now, I guess part of the saving grace or part of the problem is that this book comes out every 2 months, and this got pushed again because it just came out this week, but it should have come out like a week or two ago. So. So
ultimately, as long as it gets done, and since we already we knew this from jump that this was going to be like on a bi-monthly schedule, that we just have to exercise a little bit of patience, and we're going to get something that is a complete work. It's not there is not, to my knowledge, in my opinion, any sort of evidence that this was being rushed at all. There's plenty of detail. The colors are on point. It's a group effort, as I mentioned earlier when going over the credits to the book. So you can definitely see that it took this entire group of creators to put together a really quality book. And I enjoyed this front to back.
Same. I also don't know, like, because there are actual other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics that are coming out on a regular or fairly regular basis. So this might be getting done, and I'm not sure who's doing those though, because I'm not sure, because I know Eastman is pretty much the one that's doing this with that other Tom Waltz dude, but I don't know if,
I mean, this is one of those the end type books, like the Marvel the end books,
right?
So that's just a version, that's the turtle story that's being told here.
Exactly. And this was something like they kind of had for a while. They just never actually put it out, if I'm not mistaken. So the fact that they're actually putting it out right now is pretty good. But like I said, I'm not sure if like Eastman or Eastman or some of the other people involved in this are doing the other turtle books. They might be. I didn't really check up on that because I'm not really reading them. But that could also lend itself, because they might be doing this in between those books if that's the case. Right. But I don't know for sure. I would have to check that out.
All right, that's an excellent. Yeah, I was about to say that. I'm not 100% sure about that. That could be a contributing factor to this being on a bi-monthly schedule.
But regardless, like I said, it's kind of one of the things. Like I said, it's 5 issues that comes out every other month. At this point, some folks, if anything we said about it is of interest to you, you could very well wait a couple of months, because I feel like they're probably going to put this all together at some point.
Absolutely.
And you can read it all in one fell swoop.
Absolutely, this is definitely going to come out in a collected edition. So let's not doubt that at all.
Yeah, and it's good. Like I said, it's worth the read.
Right. I was going to say that's probably how I'm going to purchase it.
I was thinking about
that. Collected edition.
Yeah, I was thinking about that myself, because like I said, it was a good read. Like I said, we're gonna assume it's gonna. We don't know how it's gonna. Well, we can make an assumption on how it could very well end up, but we don't know. Right. But regardless, everything up until now kind of lends itself to saying that it could very well end up pretty good, regardless of how it ends.
Right.
So I'm very much looking forward, and have been looking forward to these issues when they come out. But the fact that the other fact that it's been coming out every 2 months is like, oh yeah, we got other books. We can halfway forget about what happened in the last issue because of that.
And what's fun about this is that Eastman and Laird are working together again, even if it's just their story. While Eastman is doing the bulk of it, it's great to see them collaborating on something like this.
Well, wait, I don't know if Laird is actually doing anything, or it's because he's part part creator, part owner of the Turtles. So I'm not entirely sure about that.
It's their story. The Laird, I believe, sold all his rights.
Right.
So
okay,
I would recommend watching the Toys That Made Us episode of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is maybe a year or 2 years old now. I would absolutely recommend that on Netflix. We're not getting paid by Netflix at all,
right?
Or Nacelle. I think it's Nacelle that does the Toys That Made Us also.
But they are good because I've watched a couple of them, and I don't think I've gotten to that one just yet. But yeah, I've watched a couple of them.
Excellent one. You should actually jump to that one because you will get a primer, a definitely detailed history of the Turtles publishing, and character rights.
Right. Now I think I have
all that rolled into one.
Right. Now, on that being said, another nice resource is, you may or may not know about this, is the Toy Galaxy YouTube channel. Are you aware of that?
No, go on.
Okay, I'll send you the link later on. But Toy Galaxy pretty much does like brief overviews of not necessarily the toys that made us, but kind of similar, or but for like, toys. Toys cartoons or toys that have had cartoons or vice versa, stuff like. So they've done pretty much anyone you could think of from back in the 80s, because all of them were pretty much marketed toy cartoons and stuff like that. But they go through stuff like that almost in a similar manner. But it's very shorter because it's like probably 20-30 minutes a piece. Like, I'll send you a link to it later on.
Right. So before we move on,
yes.
At least my closing statement on this is, if you watch that Toys That Made Us episode with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you get to see Eastman and Laird in it.
Gotcha.
They both are part of that documentary. So
cool.
That's why I highly, highly recommend it. I definitely, I have some buddies who were super big Turtle fans, and I forwarded them the link, that information, and they enjoyed that documentary immensely.
Okay. So
quality stuff.
Yeah, like I said, I've checked on a couple of them, just not that one. So I'm definitely going to have to pop to that one when I get a chance. I will probably try to put a link to Toy Galaxy in the clickbait section of the show notes. I can't really do that on Netflix for the Netflix show, but we'll see what I can do. Anyway, moving right along, we both liked Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin, and if you have any affinity for the Turtles, even if you just know them from the cartoon, this is probably a pretty good read for you. It's very different in tone, obviously, but it's really good.
Agreed. All righty.
What's next?
So we're going to go to, wait, what did we say we were going to go to next? Guardians. I think that's what we said, right?
Yep, Guardians, because unbeknownst to some, but I believe we knew, but I could be mistaken, that Guardians of the Galaxy number 18 out this week was going to be the swan song for this particular volume of Guardians of the Galaxy. So the creative team on this, it's written by Al Ewing, with art by Juan Frigeri, colors by Federico Blee, and letters by VC's Corey Pettit. The episode, the issue opens with none other than Dr. Doom laying out a magical plan to put some sort of hold on the powers that Dormammu was channeling using his horde of Doombots. And there are a couple of things that pop up here that, if you weren't really reading the kind of extraneous tie-ins, you wouldn't completely understand, but you don't need to, because they just sort of pop up, one of them being a gigantic mobile gun platform. And that doesn't really come up in, I believe it was an issue of Sword. They just talk about it. We don't actually see this particular vehicle pop up in that issue.
That came up in the Wakanda one, I believe.
No, I think it was the Sword. Was it the Sword one? I thought it was the Sword one where they recruited. Oh no, maybe it was Cable. Maybe I'm confusing the two, because if I'm not mistaken,
it was Cable. It was Cable.
They brought Cable in to this crossover, and if I'm not mistaken, Rocket and Cable were talking about building a really big gun, and we finally see it here.
Yes, and they end up doing that in that issue with the help of Cable's team of ex-Terminators, as they call them,
Right.
including one Whiz Kid, which that makes sense right there. So yeah, but I think the gun did actually come back up because of the fact that, well, the gun did kind of sort of come up in the Wakanda issue because of the power source.
Got it.
Yeah, but yes, the initial gun ended up was from Cable, and then cut into here in the Guardians where it comes into play, which it definitely is a group effort, and they definitely. So we were talking before the show about Fast and the Furious franchise and F9 and the theme of family, and of course Guardians being a type of family that definitely does kind of tinker with that a little bit here in this issue as it ends. But basically it's all like, hey, Last Annihilation is going on. Dormammu's kind of doing his thing, and this is pretty much cleaning up all of that, but also putting, as we will talk about a little later in the news section, giving a character a little bit of a boost that'll take them into another event that is fastly coming, which is pretty much the short strokes of Guardians of the Galaxy 18. It was a good read, though. I mean, like I said, it kind of felt like it was kind of going a little bit fast, and they got to like they cleaned up the Dormammu stuff, and it was like, well, you could definitely tell, even if you couldn't tell coming into the issue before this, that the series was ending. You definitely get the sense, even before you get to the last page of this,
right?
That they're definitely taking this to a point.
Right.
And then like once you get to the end of this issue, you definitely know that for certain. And they even tease something at the end of that, of something that may or may not come up. Also, something else that may or may not come up out of this. Because I think there is like a one shot that's supposed to be coming or something. I can't remember.
All right. So before we move on to our next book, I would posit the question: do you think Marvel is struggling with figuring out what to do with the Guardians concept?
I don't think it's necessarily struggling with that. I think it's, so I've long had the theory that it's like, you know what, sometimes they'll, like, we've seen this for the last half a decade at the very least. Like, we've seen volumes come and go. Part of it is probably, they say it's because of sales. Like, maybe some people just don't, like, there are not enough people that have enough stories to kind of warrant the book keeping up. Like,
continuing as a continuing series,
right. So until something else comes up, or they have an event, as a lot of stuff has been going, like say Black Cat, it's just been like, no, we're gonna stop it, we're gonna pause it here, and then bring it back up with this other event, and then kind of keep going because they still have a story they want to do, and certain things have been like that. But at the same time, I think there's been like, well, yeah, with the Guardians, it's probably something like, yeah, we don't have anybody else that's going to take it up, and Al Ewing's kind of got other things that he's going to go on to.
Right.
Unless he did have more to this, and we just, and I know, and Marvel had him stop for some other reason. We do not know, but this very well could have been.
Sure.
Yeah, this very well could have been.
The only reason why I pose the question that way is because this volume of Guardians turned into a catch-all for all the cosmic characters.
Yes, and I think that was the point, partially.
Well, exactly, and I appreciated that, but at the same time, it's awkward, and it's to the detriment of some of the character development of the quote-unquote core Guardians that people are looking for if they're new to the MCU, and they're like, hey, I want to see what the latest Guardians comic is, and all of a sudden you've got Richard Rider Nova, and Hercules and Quasar and Moondragon and Super Skrull running around like, wait, who are these people?
Right.
So,
to which, if you've read other books, if you've read a book, you know the answer to that question. But yeah, I agree. It is kind of feels like a hodgepodge in this one because it's like, just let everybody do. But I think, sorry,
I mean, we know how it's connected,
right?
But we're not the target demographic for that particular spin, right? Like, oh, I am new to Guardians of the Galaxy, I want to pick up a comic.
Right. So like for people who were like, hey, I know the Guardians from the movie, so let's see what's going on, and then see all these other extraneous people who never shown up in the movie. Yeah, I see that.
Right. So, whether or not they decide to reboot the concept we'll see. I haven't seen any news about that. I don't think we've talked about it. I don't think we are going to see anything in the next couple of months, let's say, because that's how far out solicitations go. So we haven't seen anything about a new Guardians title probably through the end of the year.
Correct.
And we'll see what pops up in 2022.
Right. Like I said, I believe, like I said earlier, there might be a one shot that was announced at some point for some event coming up. I'm not even sure, but I may or may not be mistaken. But yeah, we don't know at this point. At this point, we know that this volume is ending, and I feel like there's probably, just like we've seen in the past, there was probably going to be another Guardians book before the next movie shows up, at the very least.
Oh yeah. I definitely agree with that.
So, but that being said, I'm sorry to see it go, because I have loved both iterations of I've loved one iteration of the Guardians over another, but I have been enjoying this run and subsequent runs of Guardians. Right. The fact that
Roddykat's looking for that Charlie 27 guy.
No, it's all about Nikki, man. Come on. And people are like, who in the world are y'all talking about? We don't know these people. But hey, read Guardians
because 2000. We're hardcore,
and we're old.
We're not hardcore. Let's live hardcore.
Yes.
Here I am quoting School of Rock.
Yeah, and we're old, so we
and the legend. Is way hardcore.
So yeah, there was another group of Guardians before the movies, before Dan Abnett and Lanning brought the core crew into this and ended up being a movie. So, but that being said, I enjoyed it. I'm very much hoping that even though everything we just said prior to this is the case, maybe they're going to, like, we know Sword and them still out there doing cosmic space stuff. I'm hoping they're not just going to just relegate it to that. And we know, right, as far as I know, we know Al Ewing's still writing that one, and as far as we know, we don't know how long he's going to continue to write that, but we feel like up until this point, he's still kind of on it. So we got that. But I would like to see more cosmic stuff, because like I said, the last time we had a big cosmic shift that made cosmic part of Marvel was back in the 90s when Abnett and Lanning kind of revamped it and brought the current core group of Guardians into play. So I've always enjoyed the cosmic stuff to a certain extent, like that one 90s Silver Surfer comic, and the Quasar one, now that I think about it, but just regardless. Yeah, right. Yeah. So we'll see where that bears out in the coming months, if there's anything to it. So next up, though.
All right.
What's next?
All right. So how about we cover two of, I think, the bigger releases this week, and then we can go into rapid fire. Okay. I propose that we do Death of Doctor Strange #1 and Fantastic Four #36.
I wholeheartedly agree with both of those. So let's do FF first.
Which one?
FF.
All right. So Fantastic Four #36 is written by Dan Slott, with art by Nico Leon, colors by Dono Sanchez Almara, and letters by, come on. If I pause before we talk about letters, it's our favorite paisan, VC's Joe Caramagna. Take it away, Roddykat.
So, yes. So, coming off of, if you have not read Fantastic Four 35, which came out just last week, actually, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
This is continuing directly off of that. As I pull up the cover for this issue, and actually comes not only that, but that and the issue before it, where a change happened to one of the characters, which, if you're watching the video version, you can see the character in question whose powers got altered, bumped up even because of something they did. I don't know if I can't sit here and say that they deserve this, but it happened because of something they did, because of a long-standing FF character, villain, some would say, who actually
Let's say
antagonist, who actually we forgot to mention does definitely have a turn in Guardians of the Galaxy and ends up getting something to benefit them, as they tend to do.
Oh yes, we definitely left that part out.
Yeah.
Because we open with that particular character, but we also close with that character in
Yes,
Guardians.
Indeed. But moving to this is the aftermath of what happened in the last couple of issues, and the first family of Marvel are dealing with the fact that the Human Torch's powers got altered for the worse, and he can't turn them off. Which longtime Fantastic Four fans will start noticing some beats, and even in the pages of Fantastic Four, they even kind of mentioned it, because the Thing who has had issues with his powers, and and Reed Richards trying to figure out what's going on. This is pretty much the beginning of that, and being that Ben's been there where Johnny is now, he's kind of being the emotional support while trying to deal with this. And this whole issue is pretty much Johnny, well, not even starting to deal with it, but still kind of freaking out about the fact that he's that his powers got altered and he can't really be around anybody, because it gets he gets, the more emotionally he does, the worse his powers kind of flare up.
Right. You make an excellent point, and just hold that thought.
Sure.
He apparently is progressively getting worse.
Yes.
Whereas, at least for the most part, Ben Grimm was always sort of a static transformation. And it was always Reed trying to get Ben to turn back into his human form. Whereas in this case, things seem to be gradually getting worse for Johnny Storm.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it is related to his emotional state, because that seems to exacerbate the worsening of the effects of what's happened to him. But also, I think it would be exacerbated regardless of his emotional state. I mean, It would be accelerating, that is. It would just be getting progressively worse.
Right. Probably as the more he uses his powers, probably the worse it seems like it's getting. And we've seen this in the past. Like the Iceman's done a similar, had a similar issue back in the X Factor days. So this is nothing new, in cases, but it's new to Johnny.
Right. But as Roddykat mentioned, his powers are definitely let's say multiplying by several factors. One thing that Slott brings right back into the fold is that whole Spiraken or Spiraken?
Oh yeah, the Spire, yes, the planet where Sky came from, Johnny's
betrothed, promised, whatever
life
they
mate.
want to call it.
Yeah, yes. Supposed life mate. But that takes a turn in this issue also, because apparently being that they're linked, that they have been linked since this volume, or since the beginning of this volume.
Right, close to the beginning, yes.
Yeah. So basically what's happened to him has affected her in more ways than one, because of their links together and because of what he did. And that takes a definite turn here, which I assume that's probably going to come back at some point in the way, which was kind of sad, because I was like, even when what happened to Johnny, even what Johnny did happen, I was like, yeah, I can only imagine how that's going to affect Sky. And we see that here. Well, we've been seeing that here in a little bit, but we definitely get to see what happens here because of that.
Right.
And so that relationship kind of takes a turn to where you figured it was going to go, but but it also leaves it open to where it's like, yeah, okay, there's leave something open to bring them back, or at least to bring the people that Sky comes from, the Sparians or whatever they call them. I'm not even sure how they even say that either, but brings them back to the fold at some point if something should, or if and or when something should come about.
Right, because if I'm not mistaken, in the issue 35, the anniversary issue, I think they talked about, or maybe it was in this issue, they talked about going back to the Spirikins or Spirikins, because they have a lot of experience with the cosmic.
Correct, that was this issue. Mm-hmm.
that was this issue. So
Right.
they talk about re-involving those characters because they may be able to assist with what's happening to Johnny.
Right. And because of the fact that, well, that specifically, but definitely because of the fact that the other thing that was linking Johnny and Sky is probably a thing that's that they can key in on, because it's out of everything else that is blown up, or almost literally blown up, or going into tossing the flames around him, that thing did not. So
Right.
I'm sure that's probably going to possibly come back up in some point, as they try to get a control of Johnny's powers, and hopefully, reverse the situation. But as Ben knows, it's not going to take a while, even if Reed can do it. So the fact that these other people are involved may hasten that a little bit, or end up being a plot point that screws with something else later on.
Exactly. So on that note, I would just end with my final thought, which is, come on, man, you made this, Ben. Now you got to lie in it.
And they pretty much say that in the course of this issue. So yeah, so what Agent 70 said was exactly the thing that was pointed out, including especially when Ben and Johnny was talking on the roof, and when Sky was coming before they saw her. Those words was definitely uttered. So yeah, it's been good. Like, it was a good issue. It's kind of sad because obviously the things around us are going on, and it's probably going to get progressively worse as if that last couple of pages is an indication. But we'll see how it goes. Next up, though,
and just as a quick addendum, Roddykat mentioned that we've had 2 consecutive weeks with these Fantastic Four issues, so it definitely helped to have this much story coming, 1 week after the other, to really get a sense of how desperate this particular situation is for the FF.
Indeed.
All right, so next up is The Death of Doctor Strange. It's written by Jed MacKay with art by Lee Garbett, colors by Antonio Fabella, and letters by VC's Corey Pettit. I will say that this title is somewhat deceiving. I will also say that when I read this and I put it down, I thought to myself, so there are Horcruxes. Shout out to Harry Potter.
Yes, indeed. And I will go ahead and put this out here right now before I forget. So yes, there is definitely similarity. It is misleading slightly, but it's also misleading in the same way that the death of one Scarlet Witch has been slightly misleading, but also may possibly be tied together as a couple of articles have theorized, because of the way both of them had died or seemingly been killed. So this could be leading up to something else. Maybe this leading up to that Darkhold thing. I doubt it, but anything could be the case. We don't know. But yeah, so the death of Doctor Strange, if that's not telling you anything, Doctor Strange dies in this issue. Spoiler alert. But does he? Dun, dun, dun.
Exactly. And that's where the Horcruxes come in.
Exactly.
If you're familiar with the concept from Harry Potter, then you know that at least the concept has translated into the pages of Doctor Strange.
It also feels like, now that I'm thinking about, well, actually, I thought I brought up this when I read it, but also feels weirdly like that Doctor Strange episode of What If, in a way, when the Ancient One kind of comes in, when, or a version of the Ancient One kind of comes in to stop them. Because like they sent they kind of knew this was gonna happen, so therefore they sent an echo of themselves to be like, hey, what's don't do this kind of situation. I feel like I felt similar thing with that.
Gotcha.
In this issue, but this is leading somewhere we're not entirely sure, because I know there's been articles about like, why are they killing off Doctor Strange, before coming and Scarlet Witch, when we know they both have things coming up in the same movie. have a movie in the comics. But obviously, as things and have that we are alluding to, that everything is not all of what it seems, and it's probably leading to some event. But I don't know. What did you think of the issue? Like, was this something you're going to keep up with? Did you?
I think I'm going to keep up with it. It read very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bit of a setup, obviously, because we have to establish the stakes. We have to get everyone acquainted with Doctor Strange's status quo, because it's been a little while since he had his own title. We've really seen Doctor Strange in other titles and in the pages of Strange Academy. So we did need a little bit of an opening setup sequence, and then we have the catalyzing event that gets Doctor Strange moving into this whole Horcrux territory. And then there's a little bit of an interlude with characters from Strange Academy, and as I said, the instigating event, that is the inspiration for the title of this book. That's the mildest way I can put the spoiler.
Right.
And then there's the after effect, the aftermath, where the investigation starts, and something appears, something unexpected appears at the end of the story on the closing splash page. So there's definitely a nice little cliffhanger there, and we'll see how the second issue of this series plays out. I'm going to stick with it at least through the next issue and see if this goes as well as it should. There is a checklist at the back of this book.
Yes. And
there are not just this main miniseries, but tie-in issues as well. To it looks like one-shots. Yeah, it looks like they're all one-shots. They're not tying into the regular ongoing Strange Academy book, right, or Spider-Man, or actually there's no Blade right now. So yeah, most of these are one-shots. Right.
Yeah. So the funny thing about this, like I just have said, it did, and I'll close off with this, that it did read kind of quickly, but it also felt like if they didn't title this Death of Doctor Strange, it would not take you very long to see that they were leading you there down that road with what they, with everything they brought up with this. Because they kind of went through almost like a day in the life of Doctor Strange, and they kept kind of pointing to, like, hey, he's the Sorcerer Supreme, and like, hey, yeah, there are other people that could do it, and there are definitely other Sorcerer Supremes of other realms, and this and the other. So it's like, okay, even if they hadn't titled this, I was like, yeah, you can see like where are they going with this? Are they gonna kill? Yeah, yep, boop. So, and this is, I feel like this is not also the first time they've killed off Doctor Strange, but also the one other time where they've tried, it was I believe that was the Oath, where they tried, and it ended up not happening, but still, like, so I don't know. But regardless, yeah, I'm probably gonna stick with it because I'm very curious as to what they're setting up, and I'm also very curious to see if it's actually going to be tied in what was going on in the pages of the trial of Magneto, and with what was going on with Wanda there with her supposed death. If that is even the thing, because like I said, I don't know, the thing that ties these two together outside of the fact that they're magic could be coincidence, but probably not.
Right.
All right. That being said, I don't know if you got another book, or we can just go to rapid fire.
Oh, I'm gonna spin it up. I'm getting tired, so I'm gonna spin it up so we can rapid fire this.
I ain't got time to breathe.
Rapid fire, cuz. You want to go ahead and hit yours?
Sure. All right. So I will start with some of the books that we do not have in common. Batman number 113. It's written by James Tynion IV with art by Jorge Jimenez, colors by Tomo Mori, and letters by not VC, but on his own, Clayton Cowles. So this issue is an important issue for anyone who's looking to figure out what the background of this future state storyline comes from. Basically, we find out through Ghostmaker, the new character that was introduced as a foil / rival to Batman. You know, someone who he trained with, kind of like. Oh, I forget the character's name from the animated series, because Yoro Sensei was their teacher, but he had a rival that that he trained with,
Like
and that's
like Kyokai or something like that.
Oh, Kyokai,
something like that. I can't remember if that was exactly it, but it's something like that.
Yeah, that definitely rings a bell now that you mention it. But ultimately, this Ghostmaker character is a rival / let's say friendly rival. That's the best way to put it. We're not we're not early Vegeta Goku. We're much later current Vegeta Goku, right? And we get a little bit of background with Ghostmaker's relationship to one Jonathan Crane, aka the Scarecrow, who is essentially the main antagonist of this Fear State / Future State storyline. And we basically find out how all of this fits together into Ghostmaker's understanding of that character and relations to that character, and where this ultimately may be going. And that whole Peacemaker program or Peacekeeper program is about to blow up in the Simon Saint and the current Gotham City mayor's face. So how all of this is going to play out and how that affects the I Am Batman book. We'll see how long this whole Fear State thing decides to play out, because we know that, at least through solicitations and through news articles, that Batman is going to leave Gotham City. At this point, he's still there. So we will see how that plays out and how that affects the Batman line as a whole. Speaking of the Batman line of related books, Nightwing number 84 also came out this week. It's written by Tom Taylor with art by Robbie Rodriguez, colors by Adriano Lucchese, and letters by Wes Abbott. So this is a tie-in. This issue is a tie-in into the current Fear State storyline in Batman. It involves Dick Grayson making his way back to Gotham City because he's basically lured into so Batman makes his way into this trap and helps to foil it. So there is a bit of a reunion of the original Boy Wonder and the Caped Crusader. Next up is Philadelphia number 17. It's written by Rodney Barnes with art by Jason Sean Alexander. There's a backup story that has art from Chris Mitten. Colors on both stories are by Louis. Actually, colors on the main story, that is by Louis Nicht, and letters on both stories is by Marshall Dillon. So, if you're not up on this, it's a little on the confusing side now, because we're definitely getting into non-traditional vampire, let's say non-traditional mythologies and horror type fiction with regards to how it relates to vampirism and vampire history. So it's a little bit, it's hard to really recap. I've just been following along because I'm interested to see how Rodney Barnes, wraps all of this stuff up. The war for Philadelphia wages on, is still being, it's pretty intense. Ultimately, it's just worth picking up to read. I think there are at least, considering that this is number 17, I think there are at least now 3 5-issue, I think they're roughly 5-issue trade paperbacks. So it is definitely worth catching up to catching up on the story. Next up is Moon Knight number 3. It's written by Jed McKay with art by Alessandro Cappuccio, colors by Rochelle Rosenberg, and letters by VC's Corey Pettit. I understand that Roddykat also read this book.
Yep.
And essentially, this is a showdown between Moon Knight, who is, let's say, the right fist of Khonshu, like the right-handed fist of Khonshu, versus, what is this guy's name again? It's on the cover.
Hunter Moon.
Hunter Moon,
mm-hmm.
Right? Who is essentially the left-handed fist of Khonshu. And, they have to basically duke it out kind of like love and hate style, shout out to Do the Right Thing.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean that's essentially how this issue plays out, because the Hunter Moon doesn't agree with Mark Spector's tactics and his approach to being the fist of Khonshu at this point, and he's probably not wrong.
Right. Yeah, he basically thinks that that Mark's being soft. And did you the soft is not really doing what he's not doing because of some things that happened in the beginning of this volume. But other things also. It was like, no, you're going soft. We need a harder tactic. So I'm here to teach you. I'm here to get you back on track. Doesn't necessarily go that way, or seemingly go that way, but it was a good fight.
Mm-hmm.
Almost seemingly one-sided in a couple of places, but hey, yeah, it was good. Wait, did you say the? I'm sorry. Did you say the? You did say the creative team.
Yes, of Moon Knight. Yes.
Yes. Okay, I'm just checking. I might have missed that. Sorry, because I was doing some stuff. But yeah, move right along.
All right. Next up is United States of Captain America #4. It's written by the better Christopher Cantwell. It's penciled by Ron Lim with inks by Cam Smith and Scott Hanna. There is a backup story that is written by Alyssa Wong with art by Jody Nishijima. Colors on both are by Matt Miller, and letters on both are by VC's Joe Caramagna, our favorite paisan. So this issue brings us all right. It brings us US Agent, because they're bringing all the former Captains America together, and US Agent gets pulled into this mission, and we get the introduction of not one but two of these possible Captains America that are taking up the mantle of Captain America around the country, despite the fact that they are essentially non-powered individuals. They're just looking to do the right thing. So without belaboring what's really kind of a shallow story about the theft of Captain America's shield, and Cynthia Schmidt, aka Mother Superior now, they're calling her Mother Superior now, and looking to try to besmirch and basically embarrass Captain America, and essentially it's just an excuse to have all of the former wielders of the shield and the identity team up to try to stop this evil plot from coming to fruition, and to regain Captain America's original shield.
Right. And there is no reason for me to do this, so I apologize in advance, but I'm going to say former modern ones, because obviously Isaiah Bradley not amongst that, because retired. Actually, I don't even know if he's still alive in this. I'm assuming he is, but in the Marvel universe at this point. But regardless, yeah. So yeah, all of the modern modern active ones. So yeah, U.S. Agent had to show up at some point, and Bucky came in last issue. So we were gonna have to deal with U.S. Agent at some point in this mother.
Right.
And who is?
So we get the introduction of the campus Captain America, a young lady who is of Asian descent, and it is her calling to at least as described in this issue, she's combating something that is unfortunately something that runs rampant on college campuses.
Indeed.
And it's a mix of classism and just violence against women, and it's it's just unfortunately a very real issue that is touched upon here in the backup story.
Right. So in that being that, yeah.
And I forgot to mention that this character is inspired more by Bucky Barnes as Captain America.
Yes. Right, because as we have seen during the course of this miniseries, there have been different there's these different caps that are inspired by the different wielders of the shield. So because I can't remember, I think it was Aaron, the first one we meet, that was inspired by Sam.
Correct.
And then like there was Joe, who was inspired by Steve, and then of course this one, Bucky. I don't know who anyone. Well, I think there's another one that's come out. I suspect it's probably going to be
John Walker.
Yeah, and inspired by John Walker because they have similar backgrounds. Because we know this already. But that being said, so yeah, the whole Mother Superior and did you know that other person, the Commander Krieger, who formerly known as Warrior Woman? Did you know that character already?
I remember the name Warrior Woman.
Right.
So I was surprised that they were going by another name.
Right. So I was like, I know I used to read some Cap comics, but I don't remember that. But also we have another long-standing Cap villain come up in another form. And of course, when you're dealing with the Schmitz and any kind of hate crimes against folks, there's always a monger.
Right.
So
that's just it's an inevitability.
Yes. But we do see, I assume, is a new version of this entity.
Yeah, a variation on the theme because it is basically a specter, a roving spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So see how that plays out in the last issue of the series, I think.
I believe that is the case.
Right. So the upcoming issue of United States of Captain America will be its finale.
Yeah.
All right, and last for rapid fire for me this week is X-Men #3. It's written by Jerry Duggan with art by Pepe Larraz and colors by Marte Gracia. Letters are by VC's Clayton Cowell. So this was kind of an offbeat issue. I was surprised to see the High Evolutionary, spoiler alert.
Yeah, same.
Show his face. And bring with him a character who I needed some help finding out who this character was. It was, just a quick Google search revealed that this was a character that was introduced during the Uncanny Avengers Remender arc. Mm-hmm. That's why Rogue knows who this is.
Right.
And because Rogue was a member of the Uncanny Avengers, the Unity team, the Unity Squad.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, without getting into too much of this, because I'm tired, and I think Roddykat will be better able to describe how all of this is connected. There are some fisticuffs, and the High Evolutionary is essentially repelled, but at the same time, there are other things going on. Namely, some information reaches the hands of Ben Urich.
Yes.
And also, there are some Gyric things going on as well.
Mm-hmm. But also, I think this whole thing was in service of... So, yeah, the one thing I've been liking about, well, kind of sort of liking about this volume of X-Men is that they've been quick to get into the action, and the action kind of flows pretty nicely. But this particular issue, even though that was the case, was pretty much in service of... there was some action here, but it was also in service of... Here's a little exposition dump. It's not necessarily a dump, but just some bits of information, like the bits that Agent 70 just said, but also the the pretty much the one for this arc with what's going on in space with Cordyceps Jones, because now the X-Men know about that part of the equation, who's been pretty much trying to who's been out there running a gambling...
Who's been behind all of these, we won't call them strictly incursions, because when we say incursions, post Secret Wars, that kind of means one thing. Mm-hmm. But essentially these attacks by these extraterrestrial elements that are coming, that the X-Men have had to repel, the high evolutionary proves to be useful in that regard, and provides information and intelligence to the X-Men.
Right.
I also want to mention that I believe this is the second straight issue where the X-Men are thanked, if not the third straight issue, the X-Men are thanked by the local people and invited to share a meal.
I believe it is second, yeah, for certain. But yes, you're right about that. And also there was something else that's probably going to come up later, and they even address it in the course of this book, where one character not necessarily sacrifices himself, but kind of gives up something in order to stop the fight. And that's probably going to come up somewhere, and even, you know, Cyclops was like, yeah, it'll come up, but we'll deal with it. So I'm like,
that's right.
I'm like, okay, well, great. So yeah, it was all right. I was like, I enjoyed it. So I guess we're pretty much halfway in this this arc, and we're rounding the corner on it. So we'll see what happens at, you know, coming out of it with what was mentioned here.
Right.
So he said that was it for you. So I can go on to mine. Scroll. I wish I had typed this up already, but that's fine. Transformers number 35. Sorry, while I get covers. Bink. There we go. Transformers number 35, excuse me. Written by Brian Ruckley. Art by Anna Malkova. Colors by David Garcia Cruz and Evan Gaunt. Letters by Jake M. Wood. So the short strokes is after last issue, where Turbogax was being attacked by the Insecticons, but trying to hold her own in her house. The Autobots come swooping in and try to help out because they want something she has. But as they're trying to talk her out into giving them, or as Optimus tries to talk her into giving them what she wants, the Decepticons attacking is a big knockdown, drag out. Well, start of a knockdown, drag out fight that gets kind of sort of handled, or it's kind of still going at the end of this book. So I want to say this is like might be the first major battle between Autobots and Decepticons, as they are now called, because at the beginning of this volume, the Decepticons, led by Megatron, were called the Ascenticons, and they ended up getting their name. And the Ascenticons were formerly led by this Termagix Cybertronian, and who Megatron has strayed away from her teachings, and she acknowledges that, but she also pisses off Megatron, which is why she was being attacked and coming into this issue, because she has something that he wants also. But you know, as we come to find out that she's not out of tricks herself, so we'll see how that works out. Next issue. Speaking of Transformers, Transformers Beast Wars number 8. As I pull up, doing double duty here, folks. Bear with me. Yes, Transformers Beast Wars number 8, written by Egg Burnham, art by Winston Chan, colors by Sid Vin Blue. I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce that, and maybe I might have made a typo here also. But letters by Jake M. Wood. So folks who know about the Beast Wars, this is kind of a reboot retelling of that, but so it doesn't necessarily go the way that the show did, because there are some characters that weren't in the show that that are in here. So this is kind of a, yeah, it's kind of a comic reboot, I guess, but also anniversary of Beast Wars, I believe, starting us off. Not, well, that started this off or something, but regardless, Black Reckoning comes in as of last issue and is infiltrated the Maximum Base. Somewhere in between there, some coding that she got from her pod takes effect, and she turns Predacon and starts screwing with the base and starting getting some information for her own goods. If you know the character of Black Arachne, you already know what she's about. Which leads the Maximals to try to hunt her down. You know, it kind of goes a way, a certain way, and there is a meeting of this character and another Predacon who is known to pair up, not necessarily pair up, but allied themselves with said Black Arachnia. Despite what this the cover says, if you're watching the video version, it does not go like this. Let's see what is next. Oh, X-Corp number 5. I guess Agent 70 did not read this because I know you have not really been on X-Corp like that.
Right. Wait, is this the last issue?
You know,
I know that it was slated for cancellation.
Correct. So. I don't remember if that is the case or not. I think it might be. Now that I'm thinking about the end, but I'm not entirely sure. Now that because I would have to go back and look at the end of the book again to see if that's the case. But so S-Corp number 5, written by Tini Howard, art by Alberto Facci or Foch. I don't know. Yeah, I'm assuming it's Facci. Color artist Sunny Go, who I just found out was a dude. Don't ask me why. I don't know why I thought it was a woman. Not that it really matters, but I'm just, you know, there's an interesting tidbit, I guess. It's interesting at all. Letters by VC's Clayton Cowles. Blah, 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 blah. And apparently I didn't put any notes in for this one, but that's fine because everything that's been happening in the last couple of issues kind of happened in. So, you know, X-Corp's new invention machine thing kind of gets attacked by the Ferris twins and some other folks, and they end up repelling this. One character seemingly gets killed, but you know, being that Krakoa is what it is, that doesn't stay that way for long. But seeming like you would think this character's death would affect some other characters of its same ilk, but may or may not have been the case, apparently. But they end up cleaning up the situation regardless, and even finishing up a thing that this volume started off with, in that it's finishing off its the finding the members of its board and you know, getting that squared away. Like I said, I'm not entirely. We do, like Agent 70 said, we do know that this thing, I believe, was being slated to cancel. I think this might have another issue in it, but I don't. Like, you know what? I'm gonna look real quick, folks. Just real quick, to refresh myself on the last page of this Okay, it does say the end, so that might very well be. So yeah, that might very well be that for this. But we'll see. I don't know if they happen to do something else with this later on, or whatever the case may be. We'll find out, I guess. I'm not entirely sure what this book was supposed to be here for, outside of the setting up X-Corp, or and you know, and the relationships between the members of the board. It's particularly M and Warrington, but I don't know. This book didn't seem all that necessary anyway. X-Men Onslaught Revelation, excuse me. I believe you did say you skimmed this, correct? Agent 70? Or not? I don't remember.
Yeah. Not so much. I mean, a little bit, but I didn't really read The Way of X that closely, so I'm a little lost, because I know this is like a direct continuation of that story.
Correct. Yeah. Weirdly, it's not only is a continuation, but also goes into a new book, apparently.
Right.
As we come to find out. So yeah. So this was a one shot. That, like Agent 7 said, it's coming off of the Way of X book, which I don't know if it got canceled or not. I think it did, because of this new book that's coming out with Nightcrawler and crew. So yeah, some things come out about this. There was a whole big plot with Onslaught, who just the very name of Onslaught sends groans down the spines of certain folks of a certain vintage, namely myself, because if you remember the Onslaught era back in the day, it was not. Yeah, it was. It was not great. But regardless, so Onslaught comes back, has a plot against the Krakoans, and that plot gets dealt with. There's a new place, Krakoan place, that has to do with the Astro Zone that comes into play also in this issue, and Nightcrawler gets a new mission all at the same time. And again, there's a new book that we know is coming up, even if you did not know that. The end of this book kind of hints towards that. I guess with Nightcrawler's blossoming mission, which again started off with one thing, but I guess it's going to this other thing that almost seems familiar, but we're still not entirely sure what the whole conceit of it is until this whatever this new book is, whose name is escaping me, comes about. So that's that. Last book for me is Gamma Flight number 4, which is, I believe, 4 issue of 5. Bink. There we go. Written by, I don't have the creative team here because I totally read this at the last second. But it's Al Ewing and Crystal Frazier. I do know that much as the writers. Lan Medina is the artist. Antonio Fabella is the color artist. And VC's Joe Sabino is the letterer and the designer of said issue. So, I mean, realistically, the only thing we find out in this issue is that, one, we get a little bit more backstory on the character of Dion, who I believe ends up going by the name of Stronghold. We found out last issue that she is the daughter of a relatively recent Immortal Hulk villain, or I guess kind of mid to early on a villain. So we found that out last issue, but we get a little bit more into that in this one. And then there's a plot where they're pretty much the Gamma mutates in this town, and there's a touch of real world allegory going on here with some things, but worth getting into at this point. Maybe not. But they has this plan to kind of go in and assault this thing, and there's this one invention that has to do with one Doc Samson from way back in the Hulk days. In fact, how Doc Samson ended up being the Doc Samson. As he said, it's been a thorn in the side for years. But they pretty much hatched a plan to deal with that thing that is somehow a part of this plan, but they may have fallen into a big trap in the outset of it. And we'll see what happens in the next and possibly final issue of Gamma Flight.
All righty.
And that is it. So we can go to Clicks of the Week.
Clicks of the Week.
Agent 70 already has his, but I'm just going to go ahead and say that we didn't, and I totally forgot to ask again, since we're recording on a different date than we normally did, and I assume one of the other guys could have possibly read something by now, but probably didn't. So we don't have anything from them. But Agent 7, I believe, has his already.
Oh yes, it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin number 4. I thought the payoff of this issue, after the tease and the mystery of how the Turtles came to number just the Last Ronin, I thought paid off in this issue. I thought it was a good, well-structured issue that paid off what we were anticipating and showed us the last parts of this somewhat sad but maybe uplifting tale as the Last Ronin makes a last stand and is getting some help doing it.
Yes, and speaking of us, which we forgot to mention, yes, because we do find out another little bit of a little bit more about a certain side character that is helping in this. It is a character that is the daughter of 2 other characters of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe.
Right.
And we come to find out that there's a little bit more to her than we initially thought because of her parents' relationship to the turtles. Let's say
proximity.
Yes, indeed. So that's probably going to come up into something at some point, I'd assume. At the very least, the next issue, we would hope. But any place else, we don't know. For myself, that's a really good pick, by the way. So, you know, I support that pick. I don't know. I'm kind of teetering between that. That Moon Knight issue was actually not bad for the fight. Fantastic Four 36 was actually pretty good. I think I'm actually going to go with Fantastic Four number 36. But like I said, I do support that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. So that being the case, and as I type this in here, we're going to go into the news section. But first, an ad read.
Our first ad read of the night is for Wink, a personalized wine club. Wink is a world of wine delivered right to your door. From rosé to Cabernet to Torrontés, Wink has over 100 styles of wine to discover. Ever try an orange wine? Wink connects you to a world of exclusive wines tailored to your tastes and delivered directly to your door. Wink delivers 4 bottles of wine to you every month with free shipping. You can pick your own bottles or let Wink choose and match to your taste. It doesn't cost a thing to become a member, and you can skip or cancel anytime. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can enjoy an exclusive discount of $20 off your first order. To place your first order with $20 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us/wink. That's cspn.us/WINC. Wink wines through CSPN. Do it today. And now we get into the news.
And as we do every week about this time, we start off with the cinematic news. First up, HBO Max. Wait, I'm sorry. Pardon me one moment, folks. There we go. Cut that out. HBO Max slashes price in half after HBO leaves Amazon channels in bid to stem expected subscriber losses for some reason, I guess, because I don't think they're really slacking for subscribers, but what do I know? Warner Media is offering a half-off discount on HBO Max now that HBO is no longer available on Amazon Prime video channels. Well, I guess it's over with. Well, wait, what's today? No, yeah, I guess it's over with. So basically, as of that writing and the day we're recording here on the 26th, the monthly subscription cost will be $7.49 for up to 6 months. So if you happen to be watching the recording of this at the time and you don't have HBO Max and interested in it, hey, you can go take care of it while it's still Sunday, I guess. For the next 6 months, for anyone who has access to HBO via the channel's platform on on Amazon Prime, I guess. The discount will all available to new and returning subscribers, according to this. So, and according to this article, the move is aimed at counteracting the inevitable loss of subscribers due to the management decision, which was apparently set in motion 2 years ago to break from Amazon channels, which I'm not sure why they were even on there in the first place, honestly. Right. The platform removed HBO earlier this week in a relationship that long predates the current streaming era. I believe the app, HBO Max app, however, is not going anywhere off of your Fire Sticks, as far as I know. So,
right, those are two separate things.
Exactly. Next up.
All righty, in a new trailer that HBO Max drops for its upcoming programming slate, HBO Max nonchalantly tucked away a few glorious, apparently, according to this author, until now unseen seconds of its Peacemaker series starring John Cena. As was recently announced, the Suicide Squad spinoff is expected to hit the streaming service around January 2022. So, if you're a fan of Cena's role as Peacemaker, guess what? It's about to keep going.
Yep. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom cast India Moore, Janie Zhao, and Vincent Regan. Or is it Regan? I don't know. Whatever. So yeah, these folks are joining the cast of the second Aquaman movie. Let's see. Zhao is playing a mystery character named Stingray, not to be confused with the Marvel one. Sorry, Matt Wang.
Exactly.
Which that's a side note. I don't know if you saw that that tweet I did that I mentioned him in Age of 70, but anyway.
Nope, I haven't. I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah. Moore is playing longtime DC character Karshon. I have no idea who it is, but it says here that the character was originally a Green Lantern villain. He appeared in 1963's Green Lantern number 24, who was originally a shark that, after being hit with radiation, gained intelligence and telepathic powers. They really love doing that kind of stuff in DC. Animals that can either get telepathy and or intelligence. There are a few of them, including a couple of similar ones in Ultra Humanite and Gorilla Grodd. Go figure. Anyway, Reagan is playing Atlan, the ancient ruler of Atlantis, who caused the city to sink into the sea. And I believe this is the character they probably mentioned in the first movie. I don't remember, but there's So I guess there's going to be a flashback. Oh, here we go. Yeah, the character appeared briefly in the 2018 Aquaman movie and was portrayed by Graham McTavish. Plot thread in that movie featured Aquaman finding Atlan's trident. And then we got some other people that are returning apparently and that kind of stuff. So, cool. Next.
Alrighty, next up, over 2 years ago, Marvel TV announced a deal to bring Hitmonkey, MODOK, and 2 other animated series to Hulu. However, Howard the Duck and the Tigra and Dazzler animated series were canceled while in development. Regardless, though, Hitmonkey will soon join MODOK on Hulu, and it's going to premiere in November.
So we lose Tigra and Dazzler. I'm not worried about Howard the Duck. We lose Tigra and Dazzler, but we get Hitmonkey, who I'm fairly certain even neither one of us probably know that much about.
Listen, it came about when it was just it was one of those titles that didn't exactly strike a lot of didn't reek of inspiration, let's say.
Right.
So I wasn't exactly in a rush to pick that up.
Right, but the trailer's out there for it, and I watched it. And Ted Lasso's in it, so I guess if you like Jason Sudeikis, then there is that. So I don't know. I'm like, I might check it out. I still have yet to check out that MODOK series, but I won't. But I'm going to. Right, next up though. Oh, by the way, India Moore, for some folks, you who have watched Pose may know that name, and I knew that name from somewhere, but it was blanking at the time, and I had to go back on the article. So I was like, oh yeah, cool, I like her. Anywho, new Hawkeye image pairs the no nonsense quote unquote Clint with the super energetic Kate. So apparently there was a new still from the Marvel's Hawkeye Disney Plus series that sees Clint and Kate looking shocked in an abandoned KB toy store, which I think they're all abandoned KB toy stores at this point. So yeah, like we said last week when we talked about the Hawkeye series and the trailer came out. If you haven't seen the trailer, you can go check it out. It's set kind of aroundish Christmas time. Shane Black has nothing to do with this as far as we know. No. But also has to do with the Fraction and Aha's run of Hawkeye in the comics, which there was a Christmas issue. But regardless, as a part of its fall TV preview, Entertainment Weekly shared a new Hawkeye still from the Disney Plus series, which is arriving in November. And it says here, like I said, we already know that Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop is geared up as Hawkeye next to the original Archer, Jerry Renner's Clint Barton. While it's unclear what the pair is so shocked to see, probably a KB store, the faded KB Toys logo in the background is a nice blast from the past. Yes. And then next they'll be going to the last blockbuster, just like Captain Marvel did, probably, but not really. Next
up, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. star Chloe Bennett has firmly debunked rumors about her reprising her role as Quake from Marvel's Secret Invasion series on Disney+. Bennett commented on the persistent rumors during a recent Instagram story, noting, quote, "I've avoided saying anything like this in general on social media or whatever because I thought maybe it would blow over, but it has not. I am in no way attached or involved, even at all or a little bit, in the Secret Invasion Marvel thing. I honestly don't even know really what that is. I am only coming on here to say this because it has gotten to the point that every day I'm getting hundreds of messages about this. I'm now getting like approached in person. Today it was in the tampon aisle at Target, so I figured I would just clear the air." That's just too bad.
That was specific, yes, also. But yeah. So obviously there's Marvel snipers, even if she was involved. You know, there are times where there folks have come out and said something whether they needed to or not. And I mean, I feel like this is probably more of what she says than that.
I think so too.
But you know, we'll see when Secret Invasion kind of pops up. And that would be, well, I was going to say that would be a weird way for her to show up, especially when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. being not necessarily canon. But it would go away if they did do that to bring it some parts of it back into canon. That's not a what if.
Right.
So, you know. So, but for those keeping track, she's not doing Powerpuff Girls, and she's possibly not doing Secret Invasions. So, hey.
Right, that was the rumor, that she was off Powerpuff Girls to do Secret Invasion.
Right. So, there you go. Next, Shang-Chi heading into homes on November 12th, which Bob Chapek announces as Disney Plus Day. Here's the lineup of contents according to Deadline. So, if I'm not mistaken, November 12th of last year or roundabout was when they had that investors call meeting. So I'm kind of curious as to why this is now a quote unquote day. So, but we come to find out that on this day, which is slightly disappointing for as Agent 70, as I told Agent 70 before the show, because of that headline, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which was assumed to have a 45-day release window. Yeah. Is now not said that, and it's going to be another month, because we were thinking like, yeah, well, 45 days is going to be October 18th. So, I'll wait around and probably check it out on Disney Plus there. Nope. Got a whole nother month, November 12th. So, along with apparently what other, let's see. So Jungle Cruise, whatever. No one cares about that. It's going to be free on, because that's under that premiere thing on Disney Plus. Nobody cares about that movie. Some other stuff that is also going to be put on the channel on that day. What is November 12th? Let me see. That is a Friday. Okay. So I don't see anything Marvel related outside of Shang-Chi. There's some other shorts and stuff. There's apparently season 2, the first 5 episodes of that Jeff Goldblum thing. There's a special celebrating the origins and legacy of Star Wars of Boba Fett that's going to be on there. There is a special celebrating the MCU on Disney Plus that's also going to be on there, and some show with Michael Keaton, which I feel like I've heard about, but sure. Apparently, it's Disney Plus is also going to make its debut in South Korea and Taiwan on November 12th, and in Hong Kong on November 6th. So if you're in those territories, you will finally get Disney Plus. As I think I said earlier, or probably before the show, Disney Plus has still not been rolled out in a lot of places. So there you go. If you were waiting for Shang-Chi to hit the Disney Plus, yeah, you still got a little bit ways to go. Sorry.
Yep.
Next up,
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is expected to edge out Black Widow's box office numbers less than a month after its debut. According to Deadline, Shang-Chi sat financially at $183.2 million on this past Thursday, in terms of ticket revenue, just $200,000 behind Black Widow's $183.4 million total. The film initially made $94.6 million domestically over the Labor Day weekend. I was part of that, and is currently expected to file between 11 million and 12 million in competition with some newer movies coming out this week. So, congrats to Shang-Chi.
indeed. I look forward to seeing it whenever that happens. Eternals realm of the MCU, which is coming up. Legion Star teases his secret role in the MCU, it seems. So it appears that Dan Stevens might have a secret role in Marvel Studios' Eternals movie. Dan Stevens was, I believe, the title character of the Legion show that was on Fox, and I guess Hulu or wherever. Collider Steve Weintraub brought the topic up during an interview with Stevens about his sci-fi film I'm Your Man, to which he asks, what can you say hypothetically about any sort of role that you may or may not have in Eternals? And Stevens cryptically answers, Crow comment. So if you know anything about the Eternals, Crow is I believe was the villain. Quote unquote the villain. He was the leader of the Deviants, according to this article. And I guess he's voicing the character who I believe we did see in the Eternals trailer. So there you go. And I guess the Marvel snipers don't really care about that. Next
up. Disney-owned Marvel is suing relatives of Steve Ditko and other Marvel Comics creators to retain control of classic characters, including Iron Man, Daredevil, Spider-Man, and Black Widow. The lawsuits covered in a Hollywood Reporter story were filed in New York and California against the heirs of Steve Ditko, Don Rico, Don Heck, and Gene Colan, as well as Stan Lee's brother and Marvel collaborator, Lawrence Lieber. They ask courts to declare that Disney has sole ownership of comics like The Avengers, Iron Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Strange Tales, and Tales of Suspense, including the characters and story elements that have formed the basis for Disney's lucrative Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Hollywood Reporter noted that the suits followed directly Lieber and others sending copyright termination notices to reclaim part of the rights on many Marvel characters. They're an attempt to head off litigation that might follow from those notices. Termination notices are meant to let creators and their heirs share in publishers' profits. But Disney's attorneys argue that Marvel had sole creative control over the characters and comic books in question, saying it paid writers and artists on a work-for-hire basis that precluded any rights to the resulting books. This case thus involves an invalid attempt by means of termination notices to acquire certain rights to iconic Marvel comic book characters and stories, says the suit against Lieber.
This is stupid. Because this is so. I don't know. I feel like you have more of a leg. You may or may not have. You probably have more of a leg on this. You know, being legally inclined on this. But I'm like, Disney's got a lot of money. They could fucking pay these people. There's like they don't have anything without the works of these the family members of these people. So why are they suing them? That makes no kind of sense. And I know there are people like, no, let Disney have this stuff. I'm like, no, all they do is just pay these people. It's like,
ultimately what it comes down to is some sort of finality.
Right.
They want to be able to have, I think, some finality to this.
Sure.
And copyright law is changing, and the work for hire thing is kind of a thing of the past at this point. Obviously rights and contracts are being drawn up to avoid this kind of thing happening now, but we're talking about stuff that happened back in the 50s and 60s.
Right.
So it's a little bit harder for the creators to prevail, or the heirs of these creators to prevail. But we'll see how this goes, because I was surprised to hear this. I was surprised to hear that the heirs of these creators would be making a play at this point.
Right.
Because I thought it was fairly well settled that virtually all this stuff was done work for hire.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Very little to no, very little to no standing that they have to say that they have any sort of ownership, however small, in these characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Like I just I've part of this, and I don't know if you feel this way or I'm part of this. I'm still not fully versed in, but I do remember this feels like the Mickey Mouse copyright all over again.
Well, more like Superman.
Okay,
that's
sure.
Yeah, it's really more like Superman, and I'm not as familiar with how Warner Brothers / DC settled that.
Mm-hmm.
This is not my this is not my
Sure.
area of expertise. So, I'm just dealing almost as blindly as you are.
Gotcha.
So, I'd have to do a little bit more reading into this. I just haven't had an opportunity to even look at this. To look at this article, much less look at the legal papers and then see, what they're basing their arguments on.
Right. So there are some articles basing this that Disney could lose the rights to the MCU characters because that seems to be the thing people kind of couch it on, or but but regardless, I would imagine this is going to bear out some kind of way. Hopefully that'll benefit everybody involved. I would hope. I don't know, because on the one hand, it looks like Disney's big corporate, and I hate that part of this because it's just it's a terrible look, and it's it doesn't make Disney, who's on one side has one image, but also a very big monopoly at this point.
Right.
So I don't know, but stay tuned because I'm sure we'll see more on this at some point. But next up, Obi-Wan has finished filming, according to Ewan McGregor. So Ewan McGregor says that filming has wrapped on the upcoming Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Apparently, after winning an Emmy for his role in Netflix's Halston, Variety asked Ewan McGregor for any details on the upcoming Star Wars show, and he confirmed that they're done filming, and he says that he thinks that, quote-unquote, it will not disappoint. We shall see. Next up, The Amazing World of Gumball revived at Cartoon Network and HBO Max. Gumball, Darwin, and more will return to both HBO Max and Cartoon Network with a new movie tentatively titled The Amazing World of Gumball, the movie, and TV series tentatively titled The Amazing World of Gumball, the series, marking the first original projects greenlit out of Hanna-Barbera Studios Europe, Warner Media Kids, and Family's flagship television animation studios within EMEA. And my reaction to this is, who? So, granted, both Agent 70 and I are probably slightly aged out of this cartoon, but I've watched some Gumball, and Gumball's kind of dope. It's crazy as hell, but it's kind of dope. And I believe it is on HBO Max, so you can go check out some of that. But I love Gumball, so I'm happy to hear this movie. And I believe they have done comic books off of these characters, off of this series. So I'm happy to see this, and I would watch some Gumball. I probably will watch some Gumball later. There you go. Let There Be Carnage releases the clearest look at Shriek yet, apparently. A newly released Venom Let There Be Carnage poster spotlights Naomi Harris as Shriek, not Shrek, but Shriek, the secondary villain of the film. Sony Pictures dropped the poster alongside ones for Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock, Woody Harrelson's Cletus Cassidy, and Michelle Williams's Anne Wang. Shriek's appearance in the poster harkens back to her look in the source material, with the glowing blue eye and facial scar paying homage to her comic book origins. And to that, I say, who? But if you're watching the video version of the Comic Book Chronicles, you can see said poster and the Naomi Harris right there. Apparently October 1st is when that's going to happen on some friend of mine's birthday. So yay for them for that if they care. Next up,
Paramount Plus announced it's launching a new streaming bundle for both its ad-supported and premium tiers that include Showtime. So there is the essential plan with limited ads for $5 per month and an ad-free premium plan for $10 per month. Showtime is offering the bundle at special introductory pricing of $10 per month and $13 per month, respectively. That would be the previous Paramount plans plus Showtime.
That Viacom synergy starting to do some things, I guess. I don't know. They got to do something with that service because the only thing that's really there is Star Trek. Just, I mean, they got a bunch of old shows, but you can find Star Trek on pretty much other service.
Right. I'm like, what's Paramount Plus?
I mean, well, I take that back because the only one that Discovery and probably that new stuff, that the Lower Decks or whatever, those are not on anywhere else. But those are, and that next season of Picard, that's coming at some point. Like those are the only things that's significantly different about Paramount Plus. But hey, it's a lot of Viacom content, so there you go if you care. And now they're adding Showtime to it, so you can get that Deus Zamero on, I guess. Assuming they put any of that on there, I don't know. Regardless, next up, Blade Runner, Platinum End, Fina, and more lead Crunchyroll's fall season. Crunchyroll has announced its first wave of anime simulcast for the fall 2021 season. So far, 14 new series or seasons have been announced, as well as 9 shows continuing from the summer season, and 2 short anime series has just been added to the site's catalog. Highlights include Platinum End from the creators of Death Note, the Adult Swim co-produced Blade Runner Black Lotus, fellow Adult Swim Crunchyroll original Fina Pirate Princess is among the anime continuing from the summer. The second season of Yashahime, which is the Inuyasha sequel, and original Magical Girl series High Guardian Spice, amongst other stuff. So I don't see Fire Force on here, so I am less caring.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, as we have talked about before the show, My Hero just ended its 5th season, and the 6th season is definitely coming at some point from what I saw.
It's going to be in 2022, so it's going to be a little while.
Yeah.
They're working on it right now. Yep. So I have to go through My Hero Academia withdrawal until the new movie comes out, at least.
Yes, indeed. Next up,
HBO Max celebrates DC's history and legacy with a 3-part documentary. The untitled documentary is helmed by Academy Award and Emmy-nominated director, producer, and showrunner Leslie Ewerks, and is produced by Warner Brothers. Unscripted television. Looking for a release date.
I'm not sure.
I got an article, dang it.
I'm not sure if there is one actually in here.
Do they have a window? Like fall or spring or something like that?
I'm seeing some stuff that says early 2020, but not particularly that.
Early 2022, that you mean? Okay.
Yeah. I feel like there was a date. I don't know why it's not on this article, but I think I thought I did see a date somewhere else for this. But I think we'll probably know more now that I think about it at DC Fandom when that happens.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I did see something tied into that. So if we don't see it now, we'll definitely see it then. Cowboy Bebop's Yoko Kanno scored opening sequence drop this weekend. I believe that has already come out. Now that I think about it, because I've seen two people talking about it. I've not seen it though. The one-of-a-kind sound of Cowboy Bebop's soundtrack is returning with the opening theme for the live-action reboot to debut in Netflix's Toodum virtual event that was, well, as of this recording, yesterday, or that being Saturday, the 25th. Toodum included an exclusive first look of the upcoming series title sequence featuring John Cho, who plays the lead role of Spike. So fans who have been waiting to hear how Yoko Kanno will approach the new take on the classic series can finally get a good sample. And if you don't know the classic opening theme entitled Tank from Cowboy Bebop, which Agent 70 has now become familiar with. Yeah. Now you can see what Yoko Kanno has got in store for that. Like I said, one of these days not even one of these days, I'll probably do this later because I totally forgot about this thing was happening. I'm going to check that out. Next up. Oh, now we're going to go over into the comic book news.
All righty.
This is, well, it's not weird, but Black Panther writer Christopher Priest to pen sci-fi comic Entropy. I say it's weird because, yes, we know Priest's run is like the definitive version of Black Panther, but this article opens up by saying, following runs on Marvel's Black Panther, which that was in the 90s, folks. So right. Not following anything, but DC's Deathstroke and Justice League, which were more recent. This is way more recent, and Dynamite's Vampirella. Veteran comic book writer Christopher Priest is teaming up with Heavy Metal for an upcoming standalone science fiction series titled Entropy. The publisher described the project as the story of Henry Hanks, a likable average everyman who will become responsible for destroying the world. Under the influence of Keiko, a seemingly unstoppable chaotic force that exists throughout the multiverse, a force that he swears to destroy no matter the cost. There is no artist for the series that has been announced. And I guess Priest has a soundbite, or not soundbite, but Priest says, I'm really jazzed about working for Heavy Metal, a prestige imprint many of us lowly superhero creators could only aspire to someday graduate to, Priest said in a statement about the project. Joining the same creative environment as Mobius, Corbin, Wrightson, Eastman, Sudam, Goodman, Steranko, and so many others feels like a lot like being handed the keys to Dad's shiny new Bugatti. Excitingly nerve-wracking, bye-bye driver's license, according to the Priest. So, I like Priest's stuff. You know, that Deathstroke series is great. Obviously, you know, I can't say enough good things about his run of Black Panther. His Justice League wasn't actually bad either, now that I think about it. Curious about this. I don't know if I'll check it out. And I don't know if we're going to get any review copies of this either. So, we'll see. Next up.
All right. So in previews for, I think, something that is in the December solicits.
Probably.
T'Challa, the King of Wakanda, set to star in a new young readers miniseries titled Black Panther Legends. And a preview reintroduces Marvel's original White Wolf. And, it's done by author Tochi Onyebuchi and New York Times bestselling illustrator Sitor Fiadzigbe and colorist Paris Ayeni. The preview pages feature a young T'Challa and Hunter, with the latter growing up to take on the White Wolf mantle. Okay.
Not to be confused with Bucky Barnes.
Right.
Okay. I want to make sure I'm on track because I totally forgot what I did on this one. But Marvel unleashes Wolverine's arch foe Sabretooth in a solo series. After being exiled in X-Men, which was like, I wouldn't say that happened in Hoxbox, didn't it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Sabretooth is coming back to the pages, in the pages of his own solo series. Beginning in January 2022, Sabretooth launches from writer Victor Lavelle. Artist.
I apologize. It's actually pronounced Aline.
Okay, gotcha.
Damned if I know how to read that.
You did better than I would on a couple of those names. So hey, anyway, launches from writer Victor Lavelle, artist Leonard Kirk, and colorist Rain Barreto. The series features the return of Wolverine's dreaded arch rival, who was exiled from Krakoa and banished to the pit. Like I said, in Hoxbox.
Mm-hmm.
So See, Sabretooth was given this sentence, but well, we ain't even going to go into that. But it says here, now the truth behind what Sabretooth has been doing in exile will be revealed, with Marvel teasing that the answer is not what you expect, quote unquote. So, okay. Nicely done. Next up.
All right, this is related to the Onslaught book that we were talking about earlier. Marvel Comics has teased a new addition to the X-Men titles. They had a teaser image that is related to that Onslaught book, featuring a number of mutants, including Nightcrawler, Pixie, and the Juggernaut. And it suggests that those characters will be part of a new title with the tagline reading, "We keep the peace, we keep the law, we keep the spark."
Right, which was at the end of that Onslaught slot one shot from this week.
Right.
So, yeah, who knows what that's going to be. Yeah, I was looking at that image and I'm like, okay, I see a couple of characters. I don't know who in the world a couple of these people are. But we'll find out, I guess. Loki's Mixed Minutes stars on a variant cover for Kang-centered event comic. So apparently, Loki's breakout star Mixed Minutes is jumping into Marvel Comics on a variant cover for Timeless #1, a new Kang-centric one-shot that promises to offer a sampler of the publisher's 2022 plans. So I guess it's like that, or the other book that I can't remember the name of, from last year or from this year, I guess. I don't remember that. I don't know time. While the cover has not been made public, Games Radar confirmed that Marvel is planning a Miss Minutes variant cover for Timeless #1. As of this writing, the artist for the cover is unknown. It is also not known if the cover is just a reference to the popular Loki character or if Miss Minutes will play a vital role in the comic's story. At this point, I'm willing to bet yes to both.
Right.
Because they can't help themselves from taking stuff from the MCU and putting them back in the comics, for better for worse. I'm looking at you, Artie. Anyways, while many elements of the Marvel Cinematic Universe can be traced back to the comics, Miss Minutes was an original creation for the popular Disney Plus show, which we knew. We all know that. I don't think there's an image on here. It is not. But it's going to be written by Jed McKay, illustrated by Kev Walker, Agent 70's favorite Greg Land, and Mark Bagley. Timeless #1 goes on sale on December 22nd of this year.
It's the book that Joe Bennett got kicked off of. So
yes,
yeah, Greg Land was his replacement. Anyway,
next
I'm going to consolidate the next two stories because they involve the Guardians of the Galaxy #18 that came out this week. Of course, we talked about that, the fact that Guardians was coming to an end kind of rather abruptly with this issue. And minor spoilers, again, Roddykat mentioned this. Dr. Doom is going to be is basically set for the quote reckoning war that's going to be coming in the pages of or leading out of the pages of the Fantastic Four, with the power that he has acquired as a result of the actions taken in this book.
Yep. So we still don't necessarily know what's going on with that reckoning war outside of being teased in last issue of Fantastic Four, along with something else that was also teased, but we're gonna find out very soon, apparently. Next up, though, Black Panther. Oh wait, why is that in here twice? Why did I do that? Okay, we already.
I was about to say you have an action figure story.
Yeah, I know. I for some reason I put that other Black Panther story in here twice for. Fully loaded Marvel Legends Doctor Strange is coming to Walmart, much to the chagrin of Agent 70, who may or may not care about this.
No, I do care about this, and I'll let you tell the story, and I'll tell you why.
All right. In advance of his descent into the multiverse of madness, Doctor Strange will shortly enter an even more chaotic space, one where the law of reasoning does not apply and all realities converge. Naturally, we're talking about Walmart. Boom, boom. Hasbro today, one day, announced that an exclusive Marvel Legends Doctor Strange for the ubiquitous big box store to become available sometime next spring, and the good doctor will come prepared. Let's see. While most Marvel Legends figures come in with 1 or 2 accessories, Stephen Strange brings many. You can make him wield a large axe or cast spells with magical energy effects. Customize the overall look after that with one of the 3 included heads. And the cost gets slightly higher for these bonuses. This is weird writing they got going on the site. But Strange will run $26.49, the price of more premium boxed figures. That's a price point usually reserved for movie accurate deco. But in this case, it is to ensure a level of comic accuracy that a character this complex deserves. So I'm going to sit here and scroll through the image gallery while Agent 70 put up his interpretations.
Well,
his gripes.
I mean, bottom line, what I was just going to say, bottom line is, yeah, it sucks that it's at Walmart. That's a pain in the neck. Especially for city dwellers who don't have any sort of Walmarts handy. What's great about this Doctor Strange is that it's the classic Doctor Strange everyone has been asking for. The classic colors. He even comes with a wand of Watum.
Yep. So that one.
Right. So ultimately, it's just a pain in the neck that this is going to be a Walmart exclusive. I did luck out with the Walmart exclusive gray suit Black Widow, because I eventually was able to find it on Amazon for a tiny markup. But who knows if this Doctor Strange is going to be just as much of a pain in the neck to get, because it took me several months of it coming out before I was able to get that Black Widow. So this could prove to be just as problematic because it's comic accurate.
Yep. And the movie's coming out, so
right,
there's going to be some folks after this. They even got Blue Mask ahead for this.
Right, which kind of sucks because he's got a flesh tone neck, so that it doesn't exactly jive with the Blue Mask. So
yeah,
I did that.
Yeah, but yeah, there you go. You can see it if you're watching the video version of this here podcast, and you should sometimes. Next up, come on now.
All right, so I've got this. Hot Toys rolls out a huge Hydra Stomper from What If, and that's essentially the story. It's priced at $625. It's not cheap.
Very much not. And again, I'm just gonna quickly go through the gallery here. There's a Hydra Stomper with Captain Carter on the back, but I'm pretty sure that figure's not coming with.
Yeah, it comes with a skinny, unserumed What If Steve Rogers.
Yes. Which you can see right there. Seen climbing into the Hydra Stomper. Inside. Right next to, which is pretty much as big as its leg, and a full shot of both. So yeah, there you go. Next up, Pink. Rey's lightsaber from Rise of the Skywalker finally gets a Force Effects Elite replica. So yeah, Jazz everywhere can finally be able to wield Rey's lightsaber for themselves when Force Effects replica arrives next year. As recently announced by Hasbro, the replica of Rey's lightsaber will feature the LEDs and the sound effects for the realistic Force Effects Elite series has become known for, but this time with a twist, apparently. For the first time, wielders of this lightsaber can activate various sounds and visual effects, such as battle clashes, blaster deflections, and a molted blade tip. All with a twist of the yellow blade. When not slashing, however, the lightsaber's blade can be removed or left in to be displayed on the included stand. I believe it's per usual. The iconic replicated weapon also features a real metal hilt, accurately modeled after the lightsaber's debut appearance in The Rise of Skywalker. There's the box. There's it on a stand. There's a little close-up of it. And the price is $264.99, available in spring of 2022. Have at it, folks. Next.
Next up, Funko Games will make the Goonies Never Say Die board game and Under the Goondocks expansion available to game retailers early 2022, following its initial launch as a Target exclusive. Okay.
Yes. Target getting the goodies, I guess. Or the Goonies. Ha ha ha. Amuro's new Gundam will be Japan's next life-size mecha model. So y'all, some folks may know that there's a gigantic giant Gundam somewhere in Japan, which I've yet to see any version of in person, but would be very lovely if I could. Well, apparently, Amuro Ray's RX-93V new Gundam, which appeared in Charles Counterattack, is going to be the next one that's going to be life-size. I don't know. Are they waiting for some alien invasion and they're just stockpiling these? Because what are they doing with the rest of them? And, you know, I'm just saying somebody needs to pilot these things for real, for real. Anyway, the new redesign was supervised by Gundam series creator and Charles Counterattack director Yoshiyuki Tomino himself. But fans still expressed their disappointment at what they see as an overly simplified take on the original, while others noted that the original mobile suit's elaborate design may not be feasible in a massive one-to-one scale statue. I'm just telling them that they have a giant life-size Gundam somewhere in Japan and we don't. Just saying. I mean, granted, that would be the place for it. And you can see, I guess, I'm assuming this is a mock-up over it because I don't think it's up. Oh wait, no, this is the old one that's already up. That's the pictures of that one. Well, I think this one. I don't remember. Regardless, folks, there you go. If you're in Japan or if you want to sponsor us a trip to Japan, you know, we are more than welcome to take serious offers. And I'm probably joking. Next up.
Teen Titans, the young adult graphic novel series from DC, saw a fresh trailer drop for its upcoming installment, Teen Titans Beast Boy Loves Raven. Okay.
Yeah, so this is the next in line from Kami Garcia and Gabriel Piccolo, to which I think there's been another one. There's a trailer for this, which is trailers for graphic novels, comic books is still weird to me, but it's going to hit shelves on September 28th, which is a couple of days from this recording, which is tomorrow from this recording at this point. Moving right along, the Justice League goes to war with the Legion of Superheroes in 2022. So, let's see. The Legion of Superheroes will be making their triumphant return this December in Justice League 2021 Annual #1. The 48-page story will be written by Brian Michael Bendis with art by Eisner Award winner Sanford Greene. Nice. DC Solicit information reveals that and also former guest of the show, Sanford Greene, by the way. DC Solicit information reveals that the issue will see the Legion of Superheroes facing off against the Justice League. This will be the first time that the Legion of Superheroes has been seen since the start of DC's Infinite Frontier, because they definitely have been within the last year or two been around. The issue goes on sale December 14th. And you can see what looks to be, I guess, the cover from Sanford Greene. If you're watching the video version. Next.
Alrighty, so DC has assigned some new code names to Green Lanterns, so that the Green Lanterns, the Green Lantern title is, for every Green Lantern, and they can't just go by Green Lantern to everyone else. So they started some code names, and in Green Lantern #6 that started, so Simon Baz is referred to as Broken Lantern, Sinestro is referred to as Last Lantern, and so on and so forth.
That's funny. Simon's the Broken Lantern. I guess that makes sense given how they've done it. But yeah, sure. I still have yet to catch up on Green Lantern, but that was a choice. DC announces the Batwoman Who Laughs imminent debut. So the Batwoman Who Laughs will soon emerge as a new thorn in the side of the DC Universe's heroes, according to an upcoming solicitation for Justice League Incarnate #2. Written by Joshua Williamson and Dennis Culver, with artwork by Kyle Hotz and Andre Bresson. Justice League Incarnate is a new series set to begin in November. Starring a team comprised of superheroes from various Earths, including Val Zod, the Superman of Earth 23. Wait. Is that right? Is it Earth 23? Or, you know what? It doesn't matter at this point. I was
about to say, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was Earth 3, but you know what? We move on. And Flashpoint Batman, which I guess is Thomas Wayne. It is Thomas Wayne. I know that much at least. Justice League Incarnate will see the team defending the multiverse against Darkseid, along other threats, including Earth 11's Batwoman, Who Laughs. They just can't stop themselves with this Who Laughs thing, can't they?
Mm-hmm.
When is this coming out? So we can move on. Let's see. $4.99 US, 40 pages, 205, on sale December 7th of 2021.
Next up, tennis superstar Serena Williams will team up with Wonder Woman in a brand new digital comic launching this week titled Serving Up Justice, featuring Serena Williams and Wonder Woman. The book will also tie into DirecTV's current ad campaign featuring Williams dressed as Wonder Woman. You've probably seen that on television.
I have not, but I want to.
What's that?
I have not, but I want to.
The book will be released by DC Comics in conjunction with Critical Mass. Okay.
Yes, and of course you can see the I guess the cover for this series on your screen right now if you're watching a video from. Again, sometimes do that. Why is this on here again? I don't know. Why is this on here again? What am I doing? What is going on, man? I am screwing up. So let me just go ahead and put these two on here so we can bring this back on home. DC Fandom promo celebrates every cinematic Batman. So DC Fandom saw its latest promo drop with slick montage showcasing 8 films and 6 different actors' embodiments of the Batman. The half-minute clip posted to the official DC Comics Twitter pays homage to the Bruce Waynes of cinema's past and future. And it goes through all of them. I'm not even going to know them because you know them. Highlighting the prestige of each star's contribution to their respective works. I'm going to argue that a couple of them didn't really have any highlights. I'm just saying. But the post urges viewers to honor the Dark Knight's big screen adventures and more at hashtag DC Fandom, which will stream live October 16th. And of course, you can see the tweet right there on the video version. Next up, Dark Horse Comics has promoted from within to fill an editorial management position, while Mad Cave Studios has hired an experienced hand as a new vice president. Freddie Miller, formerly an editor at Dark Horse Comics, has been promoted to managing editor, the company announced. Miller started as a receptionist in 2005, became an assistant editor in 2008, and an editor in 2015. All right, there is some upward mobility. Right.
I gotta open the article.
Not really, but if you want, a couple other people got there's another one actually. There's only one other dude that got a bump up.
Yeah. New VP at Mad Cave. Good job, dude.
Yeah. Noir is the new black anthology. Noir is the new black and anthologizes the best in African American comics. Newly released from Fabrice Sapolsky's Fair Square Comics, its first offering is Noir is the New Black, which is an old school comics anthology that delves into the inner and outer reaches of some of the best African American creators in comics today. The anthology is a collection showcasing 16 tales of shadowy, psychologically gripping drama in the vein of classic urban mystery, featuring an impressive roster of some of 40 top creators. Noir is the New Black provides an incredible diverse compendium of stories set in time periods as disparate as the 1700s and the far-flung future, encompassing genres as different as true crime and science fiction. What unites them, according to artist Sean Martin Burroughs forward, is a distinctive visual approach to storytelling, and it's an eclectic journey like no other, according to them. It is, I believe it is on sale now, because the rest of the article is a preview of some couple of the stories in here, and I kind of want to check this out. But I believe, let's see, yeah. Fair Square Comics, and it is on sale now wherever books are sold. And folks, that comes to the end of this here news section, and we got one last ad read.
All right, we've got an ad read. I've got a quick toy corner.
Oh yes. So you want to do the toy corner first?
All right, really quick, folks, because I'm about to pass out. It is late for a Sunday going into a Monday, but thankfully, as Roddykat and I talked about, whenever we get these updates from Amazon where it says, oh, something that you had originally anticipated coming through some month ends up being pushed back 2 months because of supply delays. But then it turns out that they were basically just hedging, and you end up getting a compromise date in between. So what originally was going to come like late October, maybe even November, ended up coming late September. First up, it is the modular Iron Man from the, this is the Ursa Major Wave. And if you played Marvel vs. Capcom or Marvel Superheroes, you will recognize this armor as that quintessential 90s armor that translated into the video game. I am excited to have this armor. I wasn't necessarily a fan of it, but I love that it's depicted so well in this action figure format. And certainly not least, we essentially get in the same Ursa Major Wave what appears to be the definitive Marvel Legends Ultron figure. And this is it. This is the back of the box. I'm tilting it slightly to avoid the too much glare from my ring light because Ultron is shiny. He just is.
As one would expect.
Exactly. That's just the nature of the character. So I can tilt it back and assist with what this looks like. So, you know, those of you who are tuned into the video or watching the replay will see that I have finally acquired this Ultron, and I will hopefully set up. It might not be a diorama or an action scene right behind me per se, but it might be on another bookshelf that I will be posting pictures of. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that one because that was I believe that is the classic version of Ultron, not that movie version that that a lot of folks like myself and Angel 7 have been looking forward to. So I'm probably gonna get both of those. That being said, now we got one last ad read.
Our last ad read of the night is for Blue Apron's meal delivery service. Blue Apron, fresh ingredients and incredible recipes delivered weekly to your door. Skip the grocery store and make incredible meals at home with Blue Apron, always shipped free to your home. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can get $30 off your first Blue Apron order. To place your first order with $30 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down to the Blue Apron link and sign up for your first order. Blue Apron through cspn.us. Do it today.
As we come to an end of another episode of Comic Book Chronicles, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming out. We will be back next week hopefully on our regular time on Thursdays, but we'll get to that in a second. I have been Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter. You can find me at News and Need on Twitter. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. Agent_7 you can find on Twitter and Instagram. PC_Dirt on Twitter, Pop Culture Net on Twitter, PopCultureNetwork.com, and the umbrella sites they're in, and also possibly Byte under Comic Reviews No Vowels. Tim DOGG98, the Osiris of this ish. You can find at Tim DOGG98 on Twitter. You can find him also at CB Cron on Twitter, which is the Comic Book Chronicles Twitter account. You can also find him at The Click Nation on Twitter. That's TheKliqNation, all one word. You can also find him at theclicknation.com. But you can definitely find him at Comic Book Resources, where he's at CBR.com, where he's over there writing his face off. You can find this here podcast on the Coast Lizard Podcast Network. That's CSPN.us.
Do it today.
You can also find us on this on your podcast virtual place of choice, whether it be Google Play, Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Cold Slither Podcast Network's SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and leave us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, please.
Yes, and none of that 5-star they suck business. Come on.
Right.
Don't do that. Be nice. But anyway, you could also find us every week as we go live normally on Thursdays at 9:30-ish p.m. On both the YouTube channel of The Click Nation and also twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles, all one word. And we will be back next week. So more comic book news, more what if, because we still got a couple of episodes of that. Maybe possibly a little bit more on the Star Wars Visions, because I will definitely we'll be finished watching those by that time. There's a couple other things we're thinking about in the works on another franchise that we may end up doing a Treasury Edition on. We shall see. I still need to put out a couple of Treasury Editions on some stuff that I keep saying I'm gonna keep doing stuff on, but that's neither here nor there. That being said, folks, this has been the Comic Book Chronicles. Peace.
Peace. One.
I love it when a plan comes together.